not really been the favorite. You've kind of announced your presence at these things. Now that you're kind of going into it with some real expectations externally, how does that change things at all when you go into a field like this?
Not at all. Obviously this is a great field, just like those fields there, and just trying to lock into that first game. I think that's what everybody kind of takes that approach, and it can be very difficult for us just because Gonzaga is such a good team, high-powered offense, a lot of weapons, a lot of different ways that they can beat you. So. When somebody is that good offensively, like trying to take everything away probably isn't the smartest thing in the world. But also not letting them steal baskets. They've gotten really good at getting some second chance opportunities through their defense and pushing the ball, but also by rebounding the basketball. They have really good size, but they have a great combination of skill, speed, playmakers, inside outside bigs. They can score on the block, they can score off the offensive glass, but they can make threes too, across the board. So it really puts you in a bind from a defensive standpoint, just because they have such a high skill level.
I know you're squarely focused on the first game, but this might be the greatest MTE field of all time.
Yeah.
Just being part of this, how much do you find out about your team?
Well, I think through competition, you always are finding something out about your team, especially when you play on the road like we did at Arkansas, or you're going to play in an event like this on a neutral court. You're not playing in the comfort of your home arena. I think everybody kind of goes through that, and they kind of see college basketball is a lot different on the road. College basketball is a lot different when you have your home crowd.
Splitting the defense between Paul and Terry, how's that working? What's kind of the breakdown of responsibilities there?
Yeah, well, it's the same for both of them. They just, instead of Paul having every single game defensively, Brandon handles all the personnel for every game, tendencies. So he starts off every scouting report. PJ and Sasha handle the offensive piece of it, and then Paul and Terry just split the defensive pieces of it. So I like it in a preparation standpoint. I don't want it to be different, even though they could have different opinions. I want the setup and how we go about it to be the same way, so our players have that consistency.
Is it helpful in a 3-game and 3-day sort of setting?
It definitely is helpful. It's still going to happen. What happens when you're by yourself, and we've had Jack Owens, Steve Lutz, Paul last year, to where you're getting every single one of them. It's the hardest on the defensive guy. There's no question about that. Now that we're splitting, I think that'll help from a freshness standpoint throughout the year. And guys aren't moving as quick to the next game before you actually play the game.
Carter Harris, can you give us your thoughts on him?
Yeah, very excited about getting him. Versatile player, a guy that can play multiple positions, guard multiple positions. I think that ability to handle the basketball and play off the ball is something that we need, but more than anything, he's somebody that can guard multiple people. So it holds back a lot of people who transition from high school to college because they're not used to defending. He comes from a winning program, very good high school coach. I've been to their practices, I've been to their games, I've been around their program. They do things the right way, they hold people accountable. So his transition to college, everyone has that, right? But he's been in like a college program already. So, that's what really jumps out to us, is that we think he's got a chance to be, ready from day one. And he's a good offensive player, but most of the times what holds you back from getting in there is your inability to understand what's going on defensively and your inability to guard different people. And he's great in both areas, but we're getting a two-way player that we recruited for a long time, and we're really excited.
6 for 6 on guys who can shoot.
There you go.
How big of an emphasis is that?
It's always an emphasis. I mean, sometimes you get off of it a little bit because you see some attributes that somebody has that leads to winning, and you think you can offset it. But it's always something that you're thinking about, that you want to be able to do. You want to be able to put as much skill into it as possible.
And you often have to get off of it to get the guy who wants to defend. That might be where Jabari Harris' value lies, right?
Yeah. I think that's a separator. If you're a two-way player, that means you're a good offensive player, you're a good defensive player. And, that piece of it, a lot of times those good offensive players, you got to teach them how to defend and your rules and everything like that. And it's so foreign to them, it just takes a while. With him, we're hoping that, he'll be able to adjust pretty quickly.
Matt, the last time I think you brought in 6 freshmen was Baby Boiler era. What's it just like for a program to bring that many new bodies in?
Yeah, well, it obviously presents itself, right? Because, sometimes you have big classes, sometimes smaller classes. What can be difficult sometimes is when you need a big class and the year isn't very good. Like, that's what it gets you. Or, vice versa, you have a great year and you have one scholarship and you'd really like to have more scholarships because, just from the quality of player in those classes. And I think that's important for us just to understand that, like, are all 6 guys going to be able to come in here and hit it from day one? I think that's unrealistic, but all 6 guys can have great careers. Everybody has their own career, everybody has their own story, but you don't rule out anything with those guys. They come in here, they start in June and they compete, and we've seen guys that we thought we were going to redshirt, and they've come in here and they've started for us. We've had guys come in and think they're going to start for us and they need a redshirt, or it's just I know all of them are going to be good, but when are they going to be good? I think that's probably the more of a question for coaches across the country. You sign guys, you like guys. If you didn't like them, you wouldn't take them, And so, like, I feel really good about our class because we checked all the boxes. But you're not going to get 6 guys, obviously, every class with 13 scholarship players.
Do you bring up red shirt at all, like, before they come here? Is that
if they want to talk about it, I do.
Okay.
Obviously, we've redshirted people in our program. So if they're doing their homework, it should definitely come up. But it's something that I don't, outside of probably 3 guys, I think, I've never said, like, hey man, like, you're definitely got a red shirt, But I think Sasha was one, Brian Waddell was another, there might be another one in there, to where it was just a log jam. It's like, hey man, there's nowhere for you to go here. But you also don't want to operate under false pretenses, right? So you want to be honest with guys. Now, some people get in that position and they absolutely don't want to, but yet they're not in the rotation. Well, nobody wants to. You get in the real dilemma because you get a lot of young people that want to do what they want to do instead of doing what's best for them. I think that's maturity, and that's why you should have some people that are older that are around you that, like, understand the big picture of education and understand the big picture of wanting to play and your happiness. And if you're going to play and your team's going to win, it speaks for itself. But if you're not going to play, now you really got to take a step back and say, hey, do I really want to burn a year here? And that's why we've been able to do it. Our program's been a development program.
Gotcha. Thank you, Matt.